there. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. And welcome back to the 12 Days of a Scandalous Christmas Story, the 7th day. I am so happy to be coming here and just hanging out with you guys because, as you know, and as we have been sharing over the course of this series, I have been quite interested in going back into the past and going over some of the stories that we have had and have experienced in our lifetime over the Christmas holiday. Now, more or less Christmas stories and stuff, or things that we have heard during the Christmas time, rather, that necessarily may not have affected us directly, but that was shared around the holiday season. So some not so great. Actually, a lot of these are not so great. But we're taking another look at what is going on, and even maybe thinking of thoughts of how things have changed over the years since that time frame. So I am super glad for you to be here with me in doing that. And it's nice to take a little bit of a detour every now and again from what we know of as what's going on commonly, throughout the days here. And truth be told, sometimes you just need a little bit of a break, you just need to see something else. So I am of that mindset for real. But, when I think about the story that we're going to cover today, it is definitely one that I will say trigger warning to, because it is a very just really heartbreaking story. Scandalous, I would say, in the way of the things that happened throughout this story, throughout what it was experienced by this individual, and more or less from who the individual who caused this experience for that person, and the ways that this person choose to live a double, maybe even triple type of life during the time frame. It was definitely a story that shocked the year that we are going to be covering at this time, and it was one that forever has probably changed our thoughts and mindsets about different things when it comes to relationships, and really the true essence of what it means about starting a family, and really also taking note to be very careful who you choose to start a family with. So with that, we are setting ourselves back into the year 2002. And I would say, for one thing, musically and those types of things, it was a time to be alive for sure. There was so much life within this time frame. Music was so good at that time, and just a lot of things, a lot of up and coming moments for a lot of people. And that also spread to the individual in which, unfortunately, did not see 2003. So we are going to be getting into that, but let's set the stage a little bit more for 2002, and let's kind of take a little peruse of what was going on back then. Well, not only were we entering, obviously, and had been at least a good couple of years into the new millennium and all of the things that came about with that, we also looked at one of the things that occurred was the fact that the #1 song at that time was called How You Remind Me by Nickelback, and that's a group I haven't heard from or about in quite some time. And the song apparently was the lead single from the Canadian rock band's third album, Silver Slide 2, or Silver Slide, excuse me. So if you are familiar with that song, that album, that group, definitely drop it down below in the comment section. Now, because this is my channel and my series and my prerogative, I wanted to actually add a few other individuals that also hit that list, because I absolutely adore them. And because, look, I was around hanging out during that time frame, and although think Nickelback was a great band from what little bit I can remember, because it's been some time now, there was a couple of individuals that I was really rocking to. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it because it's my prerogative. I won't do it for any other video, I don't think, but I'm definitely doing it for this one. So second place, apparently, and this is for the full year, second in coming was Foolish by Ashanti, and the third was Hot Yeah by Nelly, and Dilemma hit #4 with Nelly featuring Kelly Rowland. So there you have it. That was a roundup of the top 4 of the top 4 best songs, #1 song, well, feeling they're all going to be #1 to me, but best songs throughout the entire year. Like, that's huge, right? So yeah, they were definitely dominating in those early 2000s, that be Ashanti and Nelly. It's one of my favorite celebrity coupling groups, and I like them as a couple very much so, because they make so much sense. And also too, I like them individually as artists. And yeah, it was a time to be alive when it came to the music. So really enjoyed that time frame. So that was also, a lot of times into the early part of the year. And then, of course, things then take a dark turn for this one individual that we'll begin talking about in this story. And you probably, if you're kind of gears are turning, you might know who I'm referencing and what story I'm referencing to, and therefore stalling a little bit to get to it, because it is a very heartbreaking story. So again, trigger warning to that. But even before we get into that, I want to go ahead and give my feature to my mug. Yeah, my mug. Because look, I don't really do a whole lot of just hanging out on this channel, I don't think. I mean, we get into the stories and we do all of that, but this is really a nice way to just kind of sit back, relax, and kind of go back over nostalgia and things that was going on, and just having a little bit of story time attached to it. So here's to that. And of course, my featured mug this time is actually my red ornament, and I really like it. And so yeah, and I had actually had shared in a previous video, previous story video actually, in regards to this mug, that it came from a good friend of mine, and yeah, a co-worker, and it was a really cute Christmas basket, and I really appreciated that so much. It was actually a surprise, and she didn't know how much I loved mugs, and so it happened to have a nice little mug here. And I don't really use it very often for whatever reason, but I decided to pull them all out, and I'm enjoying that. Nostalgia for me. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the next story, or well, I'll say the next story on the list of the scandalous stories, if you will, but are sharing now. And of course, this is coming from eOnline. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I know you're fully aware of this story, and fully aware of the tragedy that befalls this situation. It is one that has definitely been provided great documentary value. We have been hearing about this story since the inception of the tragedy that occurred. This is one Laci Peterson, and what is his name? Scott Peterson. And it was just a horrific time. I was in the military at the time, and stationed in Florida. And I remember when it was breaking news, we knew that this young lady was actually missing for quite some time. And it was just a really weird, story, right? It was just a weird situation. She's a pregnant lady. It's not something that you hear very often, a pregnant lady going missing. And it's like, what are you talking about? I believe she's like 8 months pregnant. So she was around the corner from having her child. And yeah, which was, I believe, a baby boy. And it was just, unbelievable at the time to hear the breaking news. If you are familiar of the story from that perspective of actually, hearing it on the news and all of that, definitely leave it down respectfully and thoughtfully down in the comment section. It was definitely a horrific situation. And so, as time went on throughout this search, it was definitely on top of mind, because it didn't make sense. Here it is in the holiday times, everybody's supposed to be coming together, family's supposed to be coming together, everything's supposed to be just all quite jubilee, if you will. And you have a pregnant mother out here that's just gone missing and without a trace. So yeah, so it was really, really horrible to hear what was presented as what probably happened during the situation for this young lady. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into this story. So again, trigger warning. Now, pregnant Laci Peterson disappears. That was the story that rounded off the year 2002. Now, 8 months pregnant with her first child, a boy, she and husband Scott Peterson had already named Connor. Laci was last seen alive on December 24th, 2002. Several weeks after Scott told his mistress, Amber Fry, that he was, or Frey maybe, that he was about to have his first Christmas since his wife's death. Because when they met, Scott had told Amber that he was recently widowed. 2 days before Laci went missing, I had gone over with the intention of having Scott straighten out my Christmas tree, neighbor Karen Service later told the Modesta Bee. He was a little quiet right before he walked out the door. Unprompted, he turned to me and said, "Oh, by the way, we picked out a name. We want to name the baby Connor." On Christmas, Service continued, I went over there and we watched the news. A number of people were there. Laci's friends, Scott and Scott's mom and dad, had just gotten into town. After the news, I went to leave and Scott said, "Why don't you stay? We're going to have dinner." And I said, "Well, no, I don't eat meat," because there was a turkey somebody had brought on the countertop. I felt really uncomfortable and I just wanted to go home. Laci's remains washed ashore in San Francisco Bay Area in April of 2003. And on the same day they were positively identified, Scott was arrested for her unaliving. He maintained that he was innocent, but a jury found him guilty in the unalivings and of his wife and unborn son, and sentenced him to, well, death. Now, in August of 2020, the California Supreme Court apparently overturned the sentence, agreeing with the defense that there may have been an issue during jury selection that had prevented the death penalty from being properly applied. So in October of 2021, the High Court also ordered a review of Scott's conviction, and there is a possibility that he could be granted a new trial. He was resentenced to life in prison, apparently on December 8th of 2021. So it does appear that that situation has now been resolved, because I actually was kind of wondering where that was at. I do remember when they made the announcement that they were looking to possibly try to reopen the situation. I even heard as many rumors as saying that he possibly could get out. And when you hear all of the things that happen and occur, and all of the movies that, you know, pretty much provide a representation of it, when you look at the 48 hours, the datelines over the years and all this stuff, it's just, you're saying to yourself, there's no way that what they are presenting happened is what happened, or something very close to around that. There was just too much evidence, too many things that didn't make any sense. And what made sense is that there was something that he had to do with it. And I don't think we have to necessarily use the term alleged, because he was convicted of the crime. So when they had brought that up, it was kind of one of these things like, you got to be kidding me. You know, here is a situation that was now put to rest and put away, and you know, you had the evidence, and you know, we're not getting into the concept of people who are actually in jail behind bars who were actually innocent. It didn't appear that this situation that he was. So, and that being said, when it came back up, I felt, oh wow, how traumatizing for the remaining family members of not even just one side of the family, but the other side as well, to have to relive this whole situation again. But I really, my heart went out to Laci's parents and her family, and as well as, you know, those who definitely would not have agreed in that this was a situation on Scott Peterson's side of the family that he should have done. Didn't condone it, didn't make excuses for it, right? You know, sometimes people in family situations with these horrific things tend to give excuses, if you will, or don't see things for what they really are. So that's always troubling. And so I really did feel for Laci's mother and, you know, the remaining family members who have really had to, you know, live their lives continuously without, you know, their sister, daughter, friend, cousin, family member, loved one, and their unborn child that they were literally robbed of. So it was a very heart-wrenching story, as many stories of this type of nature are. And yeah, so this was news to me to see that there was apparently some resolve to the fact that he was resentenced to life versus continue with the death penalty. So I guess unless something else comes up and another, you know, type of thing it gets presented again, it looks like he'll be comfortably staying where he is for the rest of his life, and where he can continue to reflect on what he did. So that is definitely going to wrap up this particular portion of this video, because again, it was just a horrific situation. You know, you think about Christmas time, you think about a time where your family's supposed to come together, where loved ones are supposed to come together, loved ones are supposed to love you, right? And you're supposed to be able to trust them. And what worse circumstance than to be taken away from your life by someone that you trusted and loved and, you know, vowed to be married to and live the rest of your life with, you know, one of the most trusted people in the world to you being your spouse. And so it was really unfortunate. It's still sad to this day, obviously, to talk about it. And yeah, it's just a horrific situation that should have never happened. You know, you often find yourself sometimes in positions here where you think, why didn't you just walk away? Why didn't you just do the divorce? Just move on with your life, you know? But I guess he figured, you know, I will do just those things, just not going to do it the way you would think I should do it. And, you know, I think about Amber Fry and the fact that she was put in such a direct danger with her, and she had a little girl at the time who's now, I'm sure, a grown adult, you know, as many years as this has been. And, you know, here she is with this guy who she thinks is single and who was telling her all this thing, and she thinks that, I don't know, she thought it was the love of her life per se, but she was really falling for him. And then to find out she's with a whole murderer, I mean, like, that's insane, right? So, I mean, the fact that she was able to be brave enough and just really step up in the way that she did to help and provide what she needed to provide to help the situation along to get to the point of conviction, I commend her for it, because not everybody has the guts, the heart, and the humanity to do so. So that being said, yeah, I would love to know your thoughts, respectfully, thoughtfully, down below in the comment section. So feel free to leave them there. What do you think about this case, the horrificness of it, of course? Do you think that he was guilty all along? Did you suspected him at the time? You know, if you were, you know, obviously around and been able to hear what was going on at the time. And what are your thoughts about the fact that they were trying to find another way to, you know, potentially maybe get him out, and, you know, just really what your thoughts are overall about this case. And definitely you can just drop those down below. So now with that, because this was such a heavy story, I thought instead of going for another what you would call popular, famous, beloved movie and finding out that not everybody was so in love with it, I thought we would just kind of do a little bit of a change of pace for this video, and to take out a little bit of the heavy and go for a movie that has all those things, has been known for all those things, but that yet actually has some really nice commentary associated with it. So let's go ahead and get into that. So that movie is actually going to be one that I have not seen myself, but it's the Muppets Christmas Carol. And I absolutely love the Muppets. I mean, it was been one of my favorite adaptations of cartoons, movies. Yeah, because they did have cartoons as well. Movies, the Muppet Show. When I was a really young kid, I really loved the Muppets. So they were a really fun pastime. I mean, it was really great. It used to come on, I think, in the evenings as well, with the whole, you know, thing and the whole skit with all these Muppets and puppets running around. It was a really great show, and it was so great, so popular, as we all know, that it yielded itself to a lot of movies, and so many that I actually did not see. And I love a good Christmas movie, and I love a movie when it comes from like an adaptation of a cartoon and they turn it into a movie. I absolutely love that. So I have to catch up on some of my Muppet shows, right? Sometimes you just need those nostalgic moments. So this was actually shared again from BuzzFeed, and it was that December 2020 article, that the Muppets Christmas Carol, by one person's point of view, is by far my favorite version of the movie. He says that Michael Caine is an awesome Scrooge and the songs are total bops. The Muppet Christmas Carol is the best Christmas movie, but it never gets any love. And that was shared by a gentleman named Moonjock number 1. So yeah, I actually haven't seen it, but I would have felt probably no doubt that I would have loved the Muppets. I mean, you know, I laugh when people go so hard for some of these type of movies, and I guess they expect more than really what they should expect. But I think that it looks like it would have been a great movie. And since it is the time of the year, I may try to see about, you know, finding where it's streamed or whatever, and see if I can take a look and you know, kind of get cuddled up on the couch and just watch it and have some great moments watching that with my hot chocolate and maybe some snacks or whatever, and just really have a nice warm evening with a great pastime, which is watching the Muppets, because, you know, how more innocent can you be, right? So yeah, I really enjoyed actually talking about the Muppets. Really, it's kind of funny how when you can think of things that made you happy, brought you joy as a kid, and you know, just can put a smile on your face. So yeah, I'm glad that I got an opportunity to see that there was more positive than not when it came to this particular movie itself. So yeah, definitely I would love to know your thoughts about what we shared today on the 7th day of the 12 days of a Scandalous Christmas Story. Definitely leave those down below in the comment section. And of course, if you are here and have not yet had a chance to subscribe, I hope that you will be part of the family, because I would so love to have you. It's a love for you to be part of the family, and of course be part of the community. And definitely be sure to make sure you put your notification bells on if you don't already, so that you don't miss an upload. And because I want you to know that I'm going to be back again tomorrow for the 8th day of the 12 days of a Scandalous Christmas Story. Oh yeah, I'm getting better at saying it and not getting tongue twisted in it. But yeah, I really, again, just appreciate the opportunity to kind of go back into a different time and look at things from what was going on in past, and that maybe things that you may have not thought about in a while, and wondering what kind of thoughts things would have been if maybe that type of story or situation was going on down in present time. But I nevertheless needed a break from some of the present time stuff, so this gives me the opportunity to do just that as well. And of course, I would love to know how you're doing during this Christmas season. If you are catching up on any things that you normally like to do with traditions and stuff like that, you'd love to share, go ahead and do that down below. I'm always looking for great opportunities for new recipes and new movies and new classics to look at, and all types of things, just to make things fun, whether it's kind of a chilled out type of vibe, or just really excitement and all that stuff to boot for the holiday season. So definitely fill those down below. And yeah, I think that will do it for this video. And again, I appreciate you so much for being here. Definitely take care and stay safe and be blessed, and for sure stay warm because it's cold out in these streets. And thank you again so much for being here. And so I would say I will bid you adieu, and until next time, you take care. Bye.